Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Dawson. Welcome to Leader Talk. This show is proudly brought to you by Brainiact. Each week we are meeting with incredible leaders from around the world to discuss all things leadership and business insights. Each person coming on this talk show has given up their valuable time for one very clear purpose: to give back to small and medium business owners. Now, have you ever wondered how some businesses are able to gain the trust of clients so easily? They make the whole process seem seamless, and yet you are struggling to gain that same trust. Well, today, Gus Arianto and I are fortunate to chat to our guest speaker, Sara Batalha, CEO of Media Training Worldwide, MTW Portugal, one of the world's leading authorities on the teaching of media training, public speaking, and presentation. Sara is here today to teach us all about the importance of trust, along with the power of relationships and communication in the business world. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Hello, thank you for having me. How are you today?
We are fantastic.
It is wonderful.
And Sara,
sorry, I was just going to let our listeners know Sara is in fact all the way from Portugal. So it's wonderful to have you on our show.
And of course, thank you so much for donating your valuable time. This is a non-commercial podcast. You donating your time, you can do a lot of work with your credibility, but you choose to be with us, and we can't say enough thank you.
Thank you. That's giving back is all about, isn't it? I think it's so important to have time and to give time and to share our story and everything that we've learned and our pains so that we can all grow and we can celebrate each other's success. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, look, it's going to be a great show. Thank you for coming on. And, all of us will learn a lot, our guests and both Gus and I. But before we jump into the questions and start asking you all of them, we have two fun questions we'd love to ask you, as we do with all our guests. And our first one is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Some years ago, one of my clients said to me, Sara, you cannot be more, I don't know how to say that in English, but he said that I cannot be more zealous. I don't know if it's the word is zealous, more than your client.
Yeah.
And that really, it was a punch in my heart, because I'm totally clients driven. I love the service. I love to take care. And I really love to help our clients to achieve their results. But sometimes we have to realize that they have their own results, their own story. And if it's in 1 to 10, 8, it's fine for them. Fine, don't keep pushing. So that's a lesson that I'm still learning. I think it's a life lesson, because I really see potential on people. And when I think that someone can go further, my nature is, you know what, let's keep going. So I keep hearing that advice: stop, be still, and let it go. So I think it was one of the best advices.
I think we can all learn from that. That's fantastic. And what about if you could be fluent in any language? What would that language be?
I had to pick Italian. I mean, have you heard Italian people speaking? You are convinced right away. It's such a passionate accent, and they speak with their eyes, with their hands, with their whole body, and you just glue to that accent. And it's such a love language. Ciao, bella, come stai? Ti voglio bene. I mean, you're just there, right? And I think it's really gorgeous. It's really kind of easy to understand, but really hard to speak. That's what I think. But one day, Natalie, Gustav, I'll get there. Let's see.
Can you say it again? I don't know what it means, but can you please say it again? I hope it related to, at 8 o'clock at night in Australia. I hope it related to pasta, pizza, or anything that we can imagine. I don't understand what you talk about there, but can you please repeat again for small and medium businesses in Italy?
Okay, let's go Italian. Let's go Italy people. I love you. I love you. So, ciao bello, come stai? Te voglio molto bene. I'm so sorry for my accent.
So good. You would have fooled me. I would have thought you were fluent. That's brilliant.
I was trying to say, hello, gorgeous. How are you today? I hope you to see well. I really love you. So let's go. Something like that.
Absolutely brilliant. We'll have to have you on the show again, Sara, when you are fluent in Italian.
Well, one day. Okay, that will be my goal.
That's your challenge. That's your challenge.
Absolutely.
And look, Sara,
Can I hijack this little bit? Even though, as usual, Natalie have a program in terms of the questions that important for our audience. But as a media trainer, as a journalist in the past, as before Natalie even share your background, maybe I just jumping too quickly here. Natalie will slap me later on.
I want to know more about Sara, guys.
You demonstrate something that I think very important. I'm not sure how much you know about Italian language, but you able to say even one or two words that make people want to engage with you. And I believe in that as well. I can't speak French, but I can say "Comment ça va," which is
Comment ça va?
"Ça va bien,"
Très
right?
bien, très bien.
I think I want to hear your opinion later. The importance of taking interest as a small business in expanding your knowledge, is expanding your simple things that can add to your ability to communicate. But that's for later, Natalie. Sorry, I tend to hijack.
Go for it. No, it's a great question. It's true. Do you want to go into it now, Sara?
Yes, absolutely. Speaking Portuguese is not exactly the first language in the world. I mean, no one speaks Portuguese unless some million people, of course, in Brazil, in Africa. But in Portugal, we are 10 million only. So we are not expecting people to speak our language. So English, French, and other language, we just have to make a kind of an arrangement, and we have to pretend that we really speak other language, but we don't. But when you do the effort to understand some words and to understand what is important for them, people feel acknowledged and feel seen. And when you have a small business, you have the chance to connect with the person that is in front of you. And I see this in Portugal and also see that, for instance, in Turkey. And when you go into a fair or in the old city, everybody seems that they know you because they relate, for instance, Portugal to Cristiano Ronaldo. And when they hear some language, some words, they say, okay, is she Portuguese? Sometimes they think I'm from Spain or Italy, but then they are used to hear, I think it's a much tougher language, and Cristiano Ronaldo. And I feel seen, and that's all they know, and it's fine. And sometimes just a small effort can make a huge step to make a connection in a relationship that can be only to say hello. And you know what? Sometimes clients just stay because they feel seen by you. So it's really important, Gus.
It is great. And we are going to touch on relationships further on because it is super important, gaining that trust and then building on those relationships. It's brilliant.
A few years ago, it was the first time I went to Dubrovnik. And before it was fashion, okay? So I was so touched by those people that just were on war 3 years ago. And I saw the walls with the bullets. And I was interesting to see how the service in the hotel and the restaurants would be like, because actually they were not used to service. I mean, they were on a war. So in the first days, I was polite and using a lot of words. Can you please give me a knife? But it was too much. Then I understand they were not offended if I would just say, please, knife, because they would understand better. So I adapt my speech in those days because they were not used. Now it's different. They are used to tourism, to having a lot of different culture, and you see the culture more warm. But you have to respect and see below the surface, and beneath the surface, you have to see the one that is in front of you and respect the differences. That's why I love to travel, and that's why I love to teach people from different countries, because you also have to adapt the way that you teach and you train people when you are training a CEO from United States or from the Netherlands or from Indonesia. I didn't have the pleasure yet, but one day I will.
But isn't that, that is really interesting, because we talk about business owners, small, medium, large, that want to break out into the global market, right, Gus? So, there's all these things that need to be taken into account, like Sara said, like that adapting, speaking slower. I know sometimes I forget and I speak, if I I remember being in Russia, not, speaking English and then them not understanding because I, 100 Ks an hour with how quickly I speak. So you're right. It's paying that extra attention and understanding and building that connection.
And
especially
I think
with the
when
body
we think
language,
about,
the body
yes,
language is so important. I mean, if you just stay still and just see first, and to use sometimes common sense, I mean, it's all about respect, and communication is about respect. When you give an interview, or when you are selling a business to a different culture, you have to observe first. And sometimes some cultures can occupy a lot of space, and it's fine. But if you know that is your strength, just be aware of how can be too much of your strength. So be aware and know yourself is so important when you are selling, communicating, and having a relationship to someone different from you. Look for similarities. That's especially when you are trying to internationalize your business. It's so interesting to see that you will you will take your beliefs and your limitations from your culture. It's so important, your inner talk. Many years ago, I was training a Portuguese tech company, and they were starting to sell cloud. And they were starting to sell alongside from Google and from Amazon, and they felt small. That's why they didn't have a voice. And they had a leader. She was from, I think it's from Tunisia. She's a really wonderful woman. She's a powerful woman. She's a woman from the world. And she did understand, why don't you think you can be next to them? And they said, we are a small country, a small business. You cannot compare. And she asked me to help them. And the work that we did was, you are not small, you are agile. You can be faster, and you can connect first. So sometimes the things that we think that are a limit in our business can actually be a strength if you look at them as an opportunity. That's what I believe.
And it's a wonderful belief to have. And, Sara, before we go into more questions, I do want the audience to understand more about you, because clearly you have so much knowledge, to share with us. But before we go on, can you just tell us a bit more about yourself and also Media Training Worldwide Portugal, so we can understand your background and then also the business?
Okay, in 4 steps. I was a journalist that always wanted to be a journalist. At 16, I knew that I want to give opportunity to those that need to help to tell their story. I didn't have a voice. So I knew that be a journalist, it was a mission for me. And after 12 years of working on radio, on newspaper, on agencies, on television, at around 30 years, or when I was 30, I knew I was on the top of my career. And I was working so hard, and I realized that one of the things that it was more precious for me. It was quality. It was not so important for the ones that I was working with and working for. And one day it was actually 4 a.m. and I was editing a TV piece of a news, I don't know how to say it, a news story. And my director at the time entered in the newsroom and said to me, Sarah, what are you saying? What are you doing here with the editor? Well, we are just finished this. We're going live at 8 a.m. So we are just finishing. Okay, you are wasting light. So go home. And I said to him, well, okay. And nevertheless, I still have to do it. So I'm just go faster if you want me. No, quality here is not important. And that was the day I said goodbye. I dismiss. I mean, it took me so long to get there and to realize that was a new era for journalism, unfortunately. And I had to say goodbye. And the day I said goodbye, it was 1 year morning, 1 year actually. It was really hard for me because I had to let it go, all of those things that I really thought it was important, and to rethink my life, my career, and my future. And that was the time that I had to look at myself and to see myself in a different way. What can I do with all those stories that impact my life, all that knowledge that I've learned to help someone and to make a difference? But I want to make a difference. I knew that I didn't want to just to be a storyteller. So I work. Second step, I work as a consultant agency, and I don't know in Australia, but in Portugal, when you stop to being a journalist and you enter in the agency and consultancy world, is like selling your soul to the devil. I mean, corporates are bad, money is bad. That was my background, and I had to rethink really what I really need. And I was earning a lot. I mean, it was a well-paid job. Okay, I was leaving at 6 o'clock. It was fine. I was not working at all more than 8 hours a day, but it was not enough. So I had to have a voice also. That's why one day, third step, I thought, well, what did I learn with all those people that I heard all my life? And I remember this story. One doctor that one time told me, Sarah, now that you are making this interview with me, all the tips that you gave me just in 5 minutes, they're much more valuable than all the media training that I did in my career. And I remember that story, media training. So I look around our country, our market at the time. We're talking about before Obama won the elections, before we all had Facebook and Instagram. And there was no Instagram at the time. So that was the days that social media was not a thing, only for geeks. So I Google it and I start looking, is there a market for media training? I mean, is there enough business people that want to know how to actually give a great interview, not as a war, but as a dance? That's how I see it. And all of those that I knew in the market in those days said to me, no, don't do it. It will be just 1 or 2 clients, and it's really hard, and only journalists do it, so don't do it. And I love the word don't do it, because that gives me a chance to do it in my own way. So I knew that what was not working, and what was not working in the Portuguese market and European market was leadership was not ready to see communication as a leverage, as a tool to speak about their value and the business value. They were just offering information to the journalist, and it was good to the journalist. But the mindset when they were giving an interview was like a war. If the journalists make tough questions, I know that I'm going to be this can contextualize. I don't know. They will not say the words that I want to say. And so I changed the business model. I just Google it. Actually, I really literally Google what is the best agency, media training agency company in the world. And 3 months later, I was in New York talking with DJ Walker at the time. He was the president. And I was telling him and sharing with him how the Portuguese market could be an open door to old markets with a Portuguese language. Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, Cabo Verde, and other countries that can actually be a pilot. So long story short, we stayed together for a great 10 years. And the last 5, we rearrange the business to get digital. Because I start to understand that even our clients now, leaders know that communication is a need. It's a must-have. Some years ago, they only see leadership as a leadership training in Harvard, not a tool to actually apply to their business. And at least here in Portugal, communication was something that no one would like to talk about, because if I do media training and if I do communication skills training, you know what? I have a problem, because I should to know how to communicate my value. And for the last 10 years, we've been helping leaders to communicate their value. And now we had, for the last 5 years, we had the challenge to scale up quality and results fast. So I didn't know how a human can do that. And I remember one coaching session with a CEO from a technology, tech company that we work with. And one day, Natalie and Gus, he said to me, Sarah, one day I'm going to automatize you. And I laughed, and I thought, no way, you cannot do that. And then I realized, what if that is actually the future? And now we know that with ChatGPT and all the technology and AI, I didn't know that. So I put that possibility on my table, and we discovered this amazing company from Denmark. And today we represent in Portugal the most advanced learning platform in the world. So now we can actually scale up knowledge and to understand what is possible to a big population of learners.
You know, Sarah, what I like about you and just hearing your story. So obviously, you have a strength in communication, and I think communication is more than language. You know, people can speak a language, but they're not necessarily able to communicate. But throughout the last 20 minutes alone, whether we talk about bits and pieces of Italian language, French, your story about different food that you like, different countries, the way you talk about digital, the way you talk about ChatGPT, AI, which is recently new, just people talk. I think small and medium business, I mean, it's fine. There's no one required to choose to be big or medium or small, just like what you said. Do what's best for you. But I think the hunger to understand, the hunger to know, and the hunger to be relevant, whether it's digital, whether it's communication, whether it's languages, whether it's food, whether it helps you to network, communicate, and relate to many, many areas of business. Am I accurate to say that, in your opinion? You know, if you hungry in understanding many areas, even if it's only a little bit, the surface, but for you to understand there is a platform for ChatGPT, for example, it already allows you to think about how to scale up your business digitally all over the world again.
when I was a child, and I think I was in the first year probably, I remember to enter into the kitchen and to having a notebook and to show it to my dad, so we can see how clean and really organized the notebook was. And I was so proud. I mean, it was really good. So I was expecting my dad to say, well done, keep going. And he saw the notebook and he smiled and he said, you know what? It's great. And now I think, and I believe that you can do even better. Discover that. And that really stuck with me. Just discover what you can do and be better. And all my life, that I hear that voice and I remember that yellow notebook. And I think that defines the way that I see life. I had the honor and the opportunity to have a community where beliefs, and I'm a Christian, so my church gave me a chance to know what a stage is, an opportunity to pray out loud, to have a theater group, to have a tribe with own beliefs, and to be open to diversity from early age. Actually gave me a chance to understand that I can go further, not to achieve. It is not in my nature to achieve. I had to change my mindset to be okay in be an achiever, and to be okay with success. Because the way that I was raised, money was something that belongs to the rich people. Success, it was only a result for those that really had some networking. You just have to keep working and work hard. But for what? I mean, come on, we deserve it. I think I deserve that, and I think small business have to keep that in mind. Effort has to lead to success, whatever that means for you. If that's a balanced life, fine, just do it. If it's time and you just need to close your restaurant to pick up your child and you are the owner, you can do that, fine, just do it. It's so important to define success in the beginning of your business, and be able to rethink what it means and what you want to be, actually.
You know, Sara, you mentioned before, like when you were starting up your business, just the simple thing of, going into Google and looking up search terms. I'm sure there's listeners that are listening in this evening or in the morning, wherever you are in the world, they haven't even explored this digital presence at the moment. And we know just businesses are popping up every week. We're getting suggestions. We're seeing them every day, all this time. For all those listeners that are actually listening in now, and that will listen later on, what are some steps or some simple things that they could do? They haven't entered this digital space. Is there any simple steps? You've done it clearly by simply, even starting with a Google search. What are some simple things that they could do to get themselves this digital presence, or even digitize? There's all these words, buzzwords out there.
Actually, 17 years ago, I didn't believe in the internet and social media. I mean, that was not for me. I mean, of course, to work as a journalist what was a tool, but I really thought it is not a really nice thought. But I thought that the people that needed to appear online, they have an issue, And that was my thought on those days. That was not for me, and I was not a geek or a nerd, so whatever. And I had to humble myself to see it in a different perspective and to see what is the story that I want to tell. And I realized that those people that didn't have an organic story, it was because they didn't had a plan to do it. For instance, if you Google my name and if you Google media training in Portugal, you will see me, absolutely. The thing is, the pictures that you see there and the articles and the content is the content that I put it there because I thought that before. Of course, I'm not a public figure. I'm not a celebrity, thank God. And so I don't have other people telling awkward things and awkward reviews in my business. Okay, I'm not exposed to that yet. And fine, that's what I chose for myself. And even when I see Natalie, my American partner, he's huge in the United States. He's huge. He trained the President Bush, the father is really well known. But I was not willing to have that public appearance. And in 2009, for 2 weeks, I gave interviews every single day. And I had that impact of people knowing your face, and thinking that they actually know. And that really stretched my boundaries. There is a price when you go digital. If you're thinking about actually sharing who you are, please be strategic. You don't have to show your house. You don't have to show what you are doing. What I learned is that in the first phase of our story, I only share professional content. And one day I had this conflict with a client, and that client she really got me, and I lose my mind. I never lose my mind, but that day she really got me. And I just wrote something really stupid, something like, today I had a need to, please keep loving me, to punch someone in the nose. And I had so many comments. Something, oh, finally, I see who you are. I see that you are also human. And I realized, you know what? It's time to be vulnerable. It's time to step up in the arena, like Brené Brown says, and to show who I am also, not only as a professional, but as a person, as a mother, as a human being. So that was my strategy. And I planned it. And I keep doing. And being digital, I tried Twitter. It is not for me. I try Instagram. Well, it's not for my clients. And you know what? The thing that actually helped me and my client was Facebook. I know it's old. My clients are old. I'm so sorry. But they are CEOs and they are more than 45, most of them. And now I had to prepare myself to the future generations. So when I started in Portugal, we had a Portuguese LinkedIn, and you only entered by invitation. And that was the first year of MTW where I make conversations 1 year. It was the first year of MTW, and I just had a baby at the same time. So I used my time in between meals, to understand the future generations, those that actually wanted to use these platforms to know my business, to learn with me, and to have a voice. And that will lead me to those that really want to be a communicative leader. So that was my strategy. I'm not saying that is the strategy at all. I think we have to try it. And if it doesn't work, to try it again. And if it doesn't work, try it again and ask for help. I asked for help. And I think when you don't know, you can ask for help for those that actually know and pay for them. One thing that I really learned that if I knew better, if I was starting the business now, I would have a more professionalized help sooner, even if I didn't have a salary. That's shame on me. I should know better.
And I just about to ask that question. If I'm representing a small business, right now, money is everything for us. It's not easy, but looking back, you were small as well. Yet you
Absolutely.
now have to, if you can return the time, you said, well, if only I start early by paying professional coach to guide me, the time probably will be less. But coming back to the communication side before the digital side, if you can give just two insights, how someone can communicate better so their values or their business known digitally. So let's just make it some simple. There's a lot of small business that they are present. They are present in Facebook. I don't think anyone now, a dinosaur to Facebook. I think they are in some way will be present. And let's just talk about that business that already have a digital presence and they want to communicate their service, values, presence, whatever you want to communicate. What are the top two things that can help them by listening to you today that you think, hey, watch these two, because if you get these two right or get coaching on these two, whatever it is, it can help you for a long way.
One lesson that I learned in a hard way is that when you publish something, it has to add value to the audience and not for you. Don't talk about you. It's really important to hear your customers, your clients, and using their own words. Storytelling actually is so important for business, and to understand the stories of our clients and to give time for them to talk with us, it will make a connection and they will remember more time. That's what we want, and they will talk about it.
This is so important for us, because while it sounds simple, and I'm sorry, I'm actually writing a lot of notes here. While it sounds simple, it's not necessarily simple. What you said before, when you publish something digitally, remember that it's not about you, but it's about your audience, your clients, your customer. Can you give an example? I'm a pizza shop owner. For some reason, I want to eat pizza. It's 8:40 p.m. and this is a Friday in Australia, in Melbourne and Sydney. So this is actually for us in Australia. This is a pizza time right now. I have a small pizza shop. I'm present in the local digital areas, so presence digitally. And I'm listening to you. You said when you publish something, remember that it's not about you, but about your audience. Now, at the moment, what I publish is about how good my pizza. What are you exactly saying to us? How do I change this communication? I'm a pizza seller, so of course I want to tell you that my pizza is the best. If this is a platform, how do I change it?
First of all, remember the ones that actually buy and eat pizza at 8 o'clock. Is it a student? Is it a doctor after the shift? Is it someone that actually is just a pizza lover? Remember their name. Take a picture with them. Ask for permission. Tell their story. What in the world happened before the pizza? Capture that moment when they just bite on the pizza. Hear them after that. Use your 5 senses. Sometimes it's all about facts, numbers, features, and actually it's about emotions and stories and benefits and pleasure, isn't it?
That is just fantastic. Something simple. I think whether you are a small, medium, or even large business, I mean, I'm part of a very large organization, and I think tomorrow I will just if I can just cut what you say before, all my marketing teams will have to hear this, because that's exactly accurate. Capture your audience and their senses.
You know, I
Absolutely
think
true.
the school here has a major role. We are taught to structure our communication in a beginning, with a middle, and a end. And the teacher will ask you, what do you want to say about this? And you go to college and you do a presentation, or you do a project or a business model presentation or a pitch. And you give me some context, some background, and you save the best for the end. But when you are in the audience, you know that you just want the best in the beginning. You want the dessert in the beginning. So why are we communicating backwards? We really have to start to prepare and to deliver our communication with our end in mind. Because now, with the impact of technology in our society, we don't have patience to wait more than 15 seconds. Come on. We will just keep going. And so we are not ready for this. We have to prepare. And if you need help, fine. Just find that those that think that way. Because advertising, it's amazing. But it's an art. And communication is an art. And sometimes, maybe if with some training, if we can go faster and we can have better results, maybe we need a different team to help us. Why not? And I see this in the leaders that we train. The leaders that are really growing and having great results is the ones that are comfortable being accessorized. And they know their limits, and they delegate. I don't know anything about this. Please tell me. Lead me. And I think small business may have a hard time letting themselves being led, because we don't have money. We don't have a huge budget. We don't have time. We have to do it all. We are a soldier and a general, and we have to clean our own business also. I cleaned my own business in the beginning of our business. I didn't have the time to think all of that. So what I learned when I look at my revenue and in the end of the month, I was not profitable enough according to the value that I believed I was adding to the clients. And I think it's not fair. Gustav, Natalie, it was not fair. Me and my team we really worked so hard, and we're giving our best. And I had to pause the business and to rethink the strategy. And I think one of the decisions that I should have done sooner was to hire someone that really understood business, management, and finance. Because I was a journalist, I was really good journalist, but I didn't knew anything about business, development, growth, finance. And it took me so long to make that decision because it was so expensive, and it was so silly of me. Please don't do that at all.
You're so honest, Sara. Like, it's just, listening to these, honest to say that you've made mistakes, but you're learning from them and it's making you stronger. And this is where I kind of want to go with this. We spoke about, we haven't touched on it yet, but we want to learn about trust, because obviously, I've got some stats here, and Gus, Sara and her team they've completed over 1,200 training sessions, for example, in projects. They've trained, and I've got this from the website, 9,465 executives, whether this is media training, presentation training, coaching. They've got an overall assessment of 9 out of 10. Like, firstly, congratulations, because all that's amazing. It's not 50 executives you've trained. We've got here close to 10,000. So my question is, you're working alongside leaders and you need to clearly gain the trust. You've just said now you've made mistakes, and yet, you're
A
training
lot of them.
you're training CEOs, you're training leaders. How do you gain this trust? This is a big thing. I've mentioned it. I even mentioned it in the opening. You're seeing other competitors gaining trust from clients. This is such an important thing. Do you have some secrets or something that you can share with us? This trust that you build. How do you do this?
And I still don't believe there is 9,000
Neither do I.
executive you train from
Gray hair,
Portugal.
gray
Eh?
hair are the evidence. Gray hair are the
Yes,
evidence.
yes.
It's phenomenal, isn't it, Gus? And this is what I mean. Like,
9,000.
you've gone from someone that was a journalist to then having the idea of, I can be a media trainer, and then you turn into this trusted advisor to these leaders. Like, it's just phenomenal. So this trust, Gus, if there's anyone we're going to learn how, about trust, it's going to be Sara, because that's just incredible.
Before the pandemic, the day before I was going to a summer holiday. The day after I received this call, a CEO of oil and energy company in those days, he called me and he said to me, Sara, I need your help. And he was my client for many years, and we had a good relationship. And I was working with them personally and with the team and the company. And he said to me, we have a crisis situation. I'm not in Portugal. We're going to have a meeting with the lawyers and all our staff. I need you to represent me. In that moment, I just collapsed inside of me. I mean, I think I just sweat a little bit, I understood the responsibility of that situation. And you have to understand that sometimes I work with leaders and no one knows about it because there is still a myth around communication skills. So it was so many thoughts in my mind. I mean, I have a family. I mean, I have a life, right? So everything was organized to the day after to go to the south of Portugal, to the beach and having my time out. So I had to tell to my husband, to my family, to my team. And at the same time, I couldn't tell to anyone because it was really a secret situation. It was confidential. It was really huge crisis. I couldn't say no because trust was on the table. And I had to fight with my own ego because, of course, it was a huge opportunity. I mean, okay, now it's my time. Now we're going to see. And I have to shut out that voice because I didn't know anything about that sector, I mean, that industry. So I did, actually, I prayed in the car and I said, Lord, I mean, you know me, you know my limitations. And if you can help me out, I mean, what shall I do? I mean, what shall I do? And actually, the thought I had in that particular time was, listen. Just listen. That's what I did. So I went there. He was on the phone in a call, listening also. And he said to me, Sara, you are my eyes. Please tell me what you see, because we have a body language training, and we also are trained with, we are certified in micro expressions with Paul Ekman Institute. So if you know that series, Lie to Me, on Netflix, on HBO. And so our clients need our eyes, technical eyes, to see, especially in those situations, really tough situations, what is happening, what are the facts. So I learned that trust is a fragile thing, because when someone that is in powerful situation, a powerful position, trusts you so much, it's really important to realize what is your role. And your role is just to be, not to communicate, not to be in his place. And if, I don't know if it, I think trust cannot be taught. I think, I mean, if, I don't know, because trust for me is to give myself to the other one over and over. And that doesn't mean that trust has the same meaning for you. And so we will clash probably with our personal values. The thing, I was raised to trust again. So I cannot get away, because it's in my nature, actually. I choose to trust.
I choose to trust. It's Natalie, if you remember what Graciela, so we interview by coincidence, also not coincidence. She's my professional coach for more than a decade. She's also one of the professor from University of Sydney, and she always said to me, "Trust is not to be earned. Trust have to be given." Because especially in human relationship, in business especially, you don't have 50 years for, especially in your business, Sarah, you met the CEO in a different country digitally. If you don't give your trust, then you don't have 10 years to build. So I like the way you describe that. I choose to trust. I choose to trust, and that's new to me.
It's a daily choice, because when you're in a business, and of course I had a lot of people that we have conflicts, and I felt betrayed. And if it happens too much in the same time zone, in the same time lapse, I don't know, you can get suspicious. You can get that mindset. Oh, you know what? It's just a matter of time. You know what? I focus on getting to my nature, what I was raised and what I believe. And I really do believe in love. And I know it's strange to talk about business and love, but I do believe. And if you want to have a growing business, you have to have healthy relationships with your clients. And they are not your clients.
Yeah.
They are your clients if they want to be your clients. It's really hard to have great relationships. Yes, it is. And you know what? Keep going, because I think some of our clients will not give themselves to you, and you have to deal with it. And sometimes it's important to understand what is most important for you. For me, is to have great relationships, and keep focus on having great relationships is more important for me than having great businesses. That's what I believe. And I look for clients that believe in the same thing. There are clients that I don't work with. I remember one client that I had to fire. We didn't have the same values. It was not a healthy relationship, a professional relationship. I didn't want those clients. I mean, yes, they're powerful. They have money. They can have a great impact in my business revenue, but it hurts me. I don't want that. It's not because I'm not tough. Believe me, I can be tough. But I also have to choose the clients that I want around me, because I have to protect my team. And when you have a relationship, one thing that our clients always say during those 15 years, when they enter in the office, is your team is always smiling. And I keep pushing my team to remember that our client doesn't have to, it's not their blame that we had a tough morning. So when the client enters in the room, give them your best your best smile and the best service, and listen. Don't just see the client, listen. And I think that is what it makes really a difference, because we train leaders. Yes, we are consultants. Yes, we help our clients to do transformations, cultural transformation, digital transformations. Yes, when there is a business problem, they call us to make an assessment. Nevertheless, where we are different is in the beginning, when we listen, talk, and ask questions, not having the solution in our top of mind. We really need to be willing to restart, to reset, to rethink what we know or what we think we know.
I think all businesses can learn from that. Small, medium, large, listen, talk, and ask questions. That listening is such a key there. And you've mentioned it a few times, Sara, that importance of just listening to our clients, building those relationships. It's such a great takeaway.
Especially because we work a lot with engineers and sales also. And when you are an expert in your field, you may tend to ask close questions, such as, what? And it's really important to switch to how, and to explore more time until you have really certain that you really understand, and and that your client understood that you understand what he's saying. Because if you already have the solution, and if I'm an expert, I mean, I've heard thousands of people. I mean, of course, my mind just will say, okay, I know, I know the answer. Okay, I know what is going to be the learning path, the project. Okay, already. And I try every single day to shut up that voice and to restart. If it was the first time that I'm hearing this, because if I became an expert, I stopped being an advisor, and I want to be a trust advisor. That's my goal.
It's brilliant, and I'm looking
and
at the time.
Hang on, and thank you for choosing a salesperson and an engineer. That's me.
So
Sara, I'm a pizza shop owner tonight. All right.
But a great engineer and a great salesperson, right, Gus? That's great.
Well, I
Sara,
hope so. I'm just about to make my pizza shop the best in the world as well.
Go for it.
Before I hand it over to you, Gus, to wrap up, Sara, for our audience listening, they want to get more information about Media Training Worldwide Portugal. Where can they go to for more information?
Well, you can Google, but because my name can be a challenge, you can Google mtw.pt. Okay, and if you Google my name, you also find me in different social networks, social media, and I'm here for you. If I can help you somehow, please send me an email. It's really easy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sara. And Gus, I'll hand it over to you for the wrap up.
Okay, thank you. And once again, Sara, thank you so much for donating your time. We have audiences all over the world, different time zones, and sometimes these little insights. I mean, 1 hour is not enough. We can talk to you for 5 hours and it's become a university lectures, but the reality is everyone busy. But I hope I do you a justice by summarizing key things that I believe Natalie and I will want to share further. But the audience will have a full video because obviously it's impossible for me to capture. You're starting by saying, be aware. Knowing your strength is important, when you're building relationship, but still be aware, because your strength also can enter other people's space. Leadership requires ability to communicate. So you can communicate your values, and so enhancing your communication skills, key for your business. The question is how you improve your communication skills. And let me just tell you, you have to invest. You have to find a teacher. You have to make a decision early in your business, because that's what you say, Sara. If you can turn back time 20 years ago when you started, you will pay that coaching, because
Absolutely.
it will save a lot of time for you to be where you are today. 9,000 executive you train. Continue to discover and be better. That's whether you are a pizza shop owner, a plumber, an executive. Continue to discover yourself and be better. And how do you do that? Keep listening, keep understanding, and keep searching. If you decide, and then I'm jumping to a new topic, digitals, which is quite common right now. If you decide to go digital, to promote, to scale up, do your homework and understand too that you need to plan in advance, because it will help you to set the best digital presence. Because equally, you don't want to come back 1 year and realize that what you do is actually damaging your intent. When you publish digitally, remember that it's not about you, it's about your audience. You might sell pizza like me and putting a picture of a pizza, but imagine the possibilities when your clients come biting the pizza. That's what you say, and I'm actually able to picture it. Funny enough, I actually able to picture that. I'm able to picture that. You want to build trust? Number one, you said listen. Number two, whether you like it or not, and I agree in this, I choose to trust. We are in business. We are in the game of networking with a lot of new people. We don't have 50 years. And I like what Sara say, choose to trust. So keep improving, great relationship. Look at clients that share your values and keep improving your communication skills to share your values, service, and product. Sara, on behalf of Leader Talk and Brainiac, thank you so much for donating your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And I hope that you all can train your communication skills. And if you don't have a coach, just record yourself and focus on your strengths. Thank you, Gustav. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Sara. It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. For more information on Leader Talk and for some great resources to help your business grow, check out brainiact.com.au. Bye, everyone.